Welcome to US Rail Journeys Series 3. It's been a long time coming, but with the easing of travel restrictions, I've made the journeys I had originally planned for the spring of 2020. So far in this series, I've travelled on Amtrak's Silver Star, the Crescent and the Texas Eagle. I'm now continuing my 6,684-mile rail tour using the Lakeshore Limited to New York, before my final journey on the Acela to Boston. Episode 38, On to New York. In this episode, our shortened train travels along the Hudson on a Friday evening to our journey's end at the Moynihan train hall at New York's Penn station. Because the train splits here, the power has been turned off, which means that the train's now getting quite warm with no air conditioning. As somebody's just said, and I fully agree with them, it's quite warm out here. Thank goodness there's a bit of a breeze. And the train team is encouraging passengers to come down to the platform if they're going to Boston, which is the earlier departure. In fact, it's the final boarding call. It's just gone to gate closed. The Boston section of the train has now departed. There's a locomotive waiting in the platform next to us. I assume that will reverse and be put onto the front of this train. The station here at Albany is a major Amtrak crew change station. There's locomotive stabling here. And they also store private cars here. Private cars are carriages owned by individuals or companies that can be added to the back of a train. And so our single G Genesis locomotive has joined our train to take us for the remaining part of the journey into New York. It's being connected to the carriages. So our train, shortened with new locomotive, is ready for the final part of our journey into New York. We should be leaving on time because there's plenty of time built into the timetable here. Sounds as though the power has come back on again, so the air conditioning can start to get to work. So the makeup of the train for this last section into New York is 4 coach cars. The dining car, kitchen, a sleeper car, and the baggage car.
Amtrak limits passengers to 2 personal items and 2 carry-on bags. Carry-on bags must not exceed 50 pounds and personal items must not exceed 25 pounds. If you are over this allowance, please condense or approach a customer service representative and we will assist you.
Now there's something different. A train with a locomotive at either end. Topped and tailed, as it's called.
PM, we will be getting out of here at 4:10 p.m. Those of you going to our final destination will be the 4th station stop. First station stop is going to be Rhinecliff. Second station stop is going to be Poughkeepsie. Third station stop, Croton, Harmon. Fourth and final destination for this train is going to be New York Penn Station / Moynihan Hall. As we get closer to New York, I will be making another announcement. Anyone need luggage assistance, I'll be glad to take your luggage from your rooms, put in the vestibule. When we get to New York, I will put the same luggage on the platform of the station.
After our stop of a little over an hour, we're now pulling out of Albany-Rensselaer station on time.
Welcome aboard Amtrak Train 48. If you're just joining us, please have your tickets out. All tickets out, ready for inspection. Conductors are coming around now, scanning tickets. If you have your ticketing information on your phone, please have your phone out and ready now before a conductor gets to your seats. Our next station stop will be Rhinecliff. Rhinecliff coming up next in approximately 40 minutes. Rhinecliff, next stop, approximately 40 minutes. And if you just joined us in Albany, have all tickets out, ready for inspection. Thank you.
So as we travel on towards New York, we're now running alongside the Hudson. A wide river, looking a bit grey today, reflecting the grey in the clouds. The sun sometimes peeking through. Patches of blue. All the way along here we cross little creeks that must be running into the big main river, taking the water from the creeks down to the Atlantic Ocean. Here beside the river, what must be mudflats, definitely shallows. Vegetation growing in the water, some I think floating, others rooted into the mud. We're now feet from the river. Sun is out, glinting on the ripples. Somebody out in their speedboat, rushing up and down the river. The water is ebbing at quite a rate. This is definitely a case of the weekend starts here. People out sailing their boats on the Hudson River.
Stop in just a few minutes will be Rhinecliff. Rhinecliff is the stop. Exits as directed by an Amtrak crew member. You'll only be able to exit the train where an Amtrak crew member is located. All doors will not open again for Rhinecliff. Exit as directed by an Amtrak crew member. Only exit from a door where an Amtrak crew member is present. Station stop Rhinecliff arriving shortly.
Rhinecliff Kingston Station is often called a Rhinecliff Station and serves northern Dutchess County and the nearby Kingston area across the Hudson River. The station has one low-level island platform. It's popular with the owners of weekend homes in the area who commute to and from New York City and other downstate locations. It also serves some daily commuters. The station building was built by the New York Central Railroad in 1914 in the Mission Spanish Revival style. Like much of the hamlet of Rhinecliff, the station is a contributing property to the Hudson River Historic District, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. A Kingston Rhinecliff ferry began providing service between the two communities in July 2015 as a revival of a former service that had been discontinued in 1957. The station was used by 211,139 passengers in 2019, even though the hamlet has a population of only 425. There were a lot of people on the platform at Rhinecliff when we stopped. I don't know whether they got off this train or were waiting for another, but probably a good 10% of the population. We've arrived in Poughkeepsie. It's two separate places, a city and a town, and is midway between the New York metropolitan area and the state capital of Albany. Poughkeepsie, called the Queen City of the Hudson, was settled in the 17th century by the Dutch. It became a city in 1854. Major bridges in the city include the walkway over the Hudson, a former railway bridge which reopened as a public walkway on October 3, 2009, and the Mid-Hudson Bridge, built in 1930 to carry US Route 44 over the Hudson. The city and the neighbouring town had a combined population of 74,751 in 2018. The station is used by the Metro-North Railroad and Amtrak. It's the northern terminus of the Metro-North's Hudson Line and a stop for Amtrak's Empire Corridor trains. Built in 1918, the main station building is meant to be a much smaller version of Grand Central Terminal and was a source of civic pride when it opened. In 1976, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places. The station is a 4-storey building built into a rock face, with the bottom 2 levels given over to the tracks and the top 2 housing the main waiting room. There are sculptured masonry designs over the 5 high arched windows. The waiting room, modelled on Grand Central Terminal, is a high gallery, lit during daylight by the windows and 3 original chandeliers. There are 14 benches. They're the original ones, finished in chestnut. There are wood-panelled walls to 8 feet from the floor. Above that there is carved stone all the way to the cornice. There is more original woodwork, stained walnut rafters in the ceiling. There are 4 tracks numbered 2, 1, 3 and 5. Of these, tracks 2, 1 and 3 are in regular use. Track 5 has a lower speed limit and is used mainly for non-revenue maintenance trains or those experiencing difficulties. Nearly 110,000 Amtrak passengers use the station in 2019.
Ladies and gentlemen, next station stop will be Croton Harmon. Croton Harmon coming up next. Approximately 40 minutes. Croton Harmon. Next stop in approximately 40 minutes. Croton Harmon next.
We now continue our journey alongside the river. On the opposite bank I can see the occasional house in amongst the trees. Past a major works looking semi-derelict. Looks to me as though it grinds up ballast from the local rocks. Or maybe reprocesses concrete from demolished buildings and structures. Large piles of stones. The train has started to rattle a bit as we're travelling along the track at above 80 miles an hour. I think this is the fastest that we've been all day. We must be coming to another crossing because the driver's just been on the horn again. We've just passed what looks like a ruined castle, built of brick on an island in the centre of the Hudson. Is it a ruin, or is it a folly? A question to which I know not the answer. Since travelling down the Hudson, I found out that the 6.5-acre Polypel Island is uninhabited. The building that looks like a ruined castle is known as Bannerman's Castle. It's an abandoned military surplus warehouse. Bannerman was born in March 1851 in Scotland, and the family emigrated to the United States in 1854. They moved to Brooklyn in 1858 and opened a military surplus business near the Brooklyn Navy Yard in 1865.
They became very successful, and Bannerman's illustrated mail-order catalogue ran to 300 pages. Later it became a reference document for collectors of antique military equipment. Bannerman purchased Polypal Island in November 1900 to use as a storage facility for his business. Apparently his storeroom in New York City was not large enough to store the 30 million surplus munitions cartridges that he had in stock.
Cars travelling slowly across a tall bridge. Must be the Friday night rush. A tug pushing two large barges against the current up the river. Two short tunnels through the rocky outcrops. We literally are just feet from the water's edge. Old telegraph poles at crazy angles, some with their feet in the water, others in the rocks. A public recreation area, a bicycle propped against a picnic table, a rucksack open on the table. Others by the car park, sitting on rugs. The horn going as we go across another crossing and through the station.
Station stop in just a few minutes will be Croton Harmon. Croton Harmon is the stop. Exit as directed by an Amtrak crew member. You can only exit where you see an Amtrak crew member located. All doors will not open if Croton Harmon is your station stop. Look to where an Amtrak crew member is positioned. That will be your exit. Croton Harmon.
Croton-on-Hudson is a village with a population of 8,070 in the 2010 census. The village was incorporated in 1898. It's our penultimate stop on the Lakeshore Limited, 52 miles from our destination. It's the main transfer point between the Hudson's local and express service and marks the northern endpoint of third rail electrification on the route, with all Hudson Line electrical multiple unit trains starting and terminating here. The Lakeshore Limited stops here to discharge passengers on the southbound service and to allow passengers to board on the northbound service. The Hudson River Railroad, one of the forerunners of the New York Central Railroad, ran commuter trains to Poughkeepsie via Croton-on-Hudson as early as 1849. The present station dates from the late 1950s and was expanded to a multi-level facility in 1988. The station was known as Harmon until April 1963.
This is Croton Harmon arriving now. Can exit where you see an Amtrak crew member located. Croton Harmon is the stop.
In the past, trains continuing north of Harmon, including the flagship 20th Century Limited, would exchange their electric locomotive for a steam or diesel locomotive to continue the journey to points north and west. The station has 3 high-level island platforms, each 10 cars long, and was used by 46,403 Amtrak passengers in 2019.
Penn Station, Moynihan train home, final stop in approximately 40 to 45 minutes. New York, Penn Station, Moynihan train hall, final stop in approximately 40 to 45 minutes.
We're now speeding along the Hudson to our final destination, racing through suburban stations. We're very much into the commuter belt, past a modern office park. And then over there, a row of houses traditionally built. Seems amazing that we can be travelling along the tree-lined, wide river, and in roughly 15 minutes we'll be in the city centre. Past a depot with road salt waiting for winter, multi-levels of highways, connected by ramps from here and there. Cars mainly, but a few vans and lorries. We're all proceeding at about the same speed. For many, going home is the need.
A few more minutes will be our final stop. New York Penn Station, Moynihan Train Hall. Folks, please take the time now. Start checking around your seat, the overhead luggage rack, seat back in front of you. Make sure you have all of your personal belongings with you before you exit the train. When we arrive on the station platform at New York, all doors on the platform side should open. Please watch your step while detraining. There will be a small gap between the train and the platform. Passengers with small children will want to assist their child off the train. Anyone with checked luggage, if you have checked baggage in the baggage car, you must go to Moynihan Train Hall to collect your bags. Again, all checked baggage will be collected at Moynihan Train Hall. When you exit the train, follow the yellow signs on the platform to Moynihan Train Hall. Again, all checked baggage from the baggage car will be claimed at Moynihan Train Hall only. New York's Penn Station, final stop, just a few more minutes. Again, please make sure you have all your belongings with you prior to exiting. Take a look now around your seat. That includes your cell phone charger that's still plugged into the wall. Take everything with you as you leave. On behalf of the crew from Albany to New York today, I'd like to thank you for traveling Amtrak. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. New York, final stop, just a few more minutes.
And so as we come in through the tunnel, that's the end of our journey on the Lakeshore Limited. Arriving on time.
Into New York, ahead of our scheduled time. Just awaiting some platform space to open up. Should be pulling in momentarily.
The man with the microphone thanks the passengers and crew on train number 48, the Lakeshore Limited, which left Chicago Union Station on Thursday the 7th of July 2022, bound for New York. The US Rail Journeys podcasts are produced and published by the Mr. T Podcast Studio. Thank you very much for listening, and please join me again in a couple of weeks for the next instalment.